Hey everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and welcome to Friday Fun Live, where we talk about yarn and crochet and whatever. I hope you all had a fantastic week. I'm just going to start off telling you that we got above freezing this week. Yay. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think today we're going to get up to maybe 36, 37. So technically above freezing by a little bit. I got to go grocery shopping. A big deal, I know, something we all do. And on Tuesday, and as I was driving home, the sun just felt so warm. I had to put the top of the Miata down. I know that sounds crazy for those of you living in Florida, but it was 47 degrees out. I mean, that felt like Miami to me. After all these weeks, we've been just below freezing ever since I came back from South Carolina, like mid-January. So we finally got above for a little bit. Of course, it freezes at night. Um, and everything around is still white. I had a wonderful drive let's see, when was it? Friday, because I was leaving right after the live. And we drove to Lynchburg, Virginia. We took the route up around 81 up through the mountains. It's a little bit longer, but it's much more scenic and there's a lot less traffic. And it was absolutely beautiful. I think Phil can relate to this. Everything from Maryland all the way to where we went halfway through Virginia was just snow covered the entire way. Roads were beautiful, roads were clear, but it just made for the most beautiful scenic farmland. It was just gorgeous, and had a great time with my grandson and his parents. And he is so cute. But anyway, I can go on and on about that for a whole hour, but I won't. And we did get to stop at Buc-ee's on the way back home. So yay. And as you can tell, we're getting excited here. I know you all had the Super Bowl this past Sunday, and honestly, we didn't even watch it. I mean, we're just not into the NFL, but we are into NASCAR and we are ready for the Daytona 500. So we're ready for the drivers start your engines. So that's going to be Sunday afternoon for those of you who follow. And yes, I know my jacket is old. My driver retired more than 10 years ago. And he's at least 20 years younger than me. So that doesn't make me feel real young anymore. But anyway, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. And one of these days, I'm going to get down to Florida and get to see the Daytona 500 in person. Have not been able to do that yet. Got to see Darlington back in 2006 when our kids were younger, but still haven't made it to another race live. Well, except for we did get to see an IndyCar race at Dallas International Speedway, and that was fantastic. But we're still NASCAR guys at heart. So anyway, let's go ahead and say hey to everybody in the chat. Angie, good morning to you, and Linda, Brad's mom. She says, good morning, Bonnie, Hannah, Becky, and all my dear Yarnies from sunny and warmer Southwest Chicago suburbs. Yes, and thanks for that reminder about smashing that thumbs up button. That just helps this to go a little bit further than it would otherwise. And let's see, have Stephanie. Good morning to you. And Wanda, good morning to you. She says, good morning, Miss Bonnie and everyone. Beautiful day in North Carolina. Pray all here are doing well. I hope y'all are thawing out and enjoying that. I know Hannah was enjoying, I think it was 70-degree weather the other day. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to boast about it. No, she wasn't boasting, but I'm glad that things are thawing out for you all. I think we're going to have a little bit of thawing. I'm told we're supposed to get warmer weather this weekend, but we'll see. We'll see. Everything is still white. When I look out the front and the back, everything is still white. Starting to see little patches of what used to be our yard trying to peek through, but it's just a small bit. And we have someone, Yarn Life. Good morning to you. She says, she says, good morning, everyone. Hope you are having a blessed and beautiful day. Thank you so much. And Virginia says, good morning from Moncton, New Brunswick. Yes, we stayed in Brunkton. I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not Virginia. Stayed there for a couple of nights as we were using that kind of as our base, and we kind of would drive into We drove from there to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and had a really good time. So it was just kind of a nice day. Nice time there. We've noticed that you guys are getting a lot of snow. Every time we look at the weather map, I'm paying particular attention to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and also Prince Edward Island in that section up in Canada, since I feel like um, I have friends there now, which is wonderful. Joe has yarn. Says, hello, Bonnie, Hannah, and all the crochet family. I'm preparing for a trip to Israel with my daughter. Oh, how wonderful. Prayers. And of course, I'm taking crochet with me. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful time traveling to Israel. I know I certainly did. It was a very, very special trip my husband and I were able to take with the Ligonier Ministries. Back in 2022, it was actually a cruise, the first time I'd ever been on a cruise ship. And I would love to go back again, although I tell you, the the food was so amazing. I think I came back 10 pounds heavier. It was really a gourmet delight on the ship. But yeah, I really enjoyed the time in Israel. The only thing I didn't enjoy is that it wasn't long enough. I felt like I didn't get enough time in Jerusalem, and I really wanted to go back and just see more and to learn more. Hannah, thank you for being such a great greeter in the chat, my dear. Um, and Phil says, hello, everyone in Utah today, headed back to Watertown, South Dakota. Well, you be careful, Phil. I know you, I don't know I think it's a little bit warmer out there than what we have here at back east, but do be careful. Um, I may have some information for you all in the coming months. I may be out west this year. Not sure exactly. I'm not going to spill the beans with anybody, but definitely in negotiations about a possible trip out west, and I'm excited about that because I really like seeing places of our beautiful country that I haven't seen before. Um, let's see. Have Alana says hello to everyone. Thank you so much, Alana. Appreciate you being here. And Shatika Woods, so glad to have you here. Wishing blessings to everyone. Thank you, Shatika. And Grammy, I'm waving right back at you. And Liz and Sandra Harper, glad to have you in the chat. We just had a lot of there it is. Um, and Kim, great to have you. And Kathleen and Carol says, love your racing jacket. Um, hi, Hannah, Bonnie, and Crochet Peeps. Carol Beth in Oregon. Wow. Well, welcome, Carol Beth. And see, Kathleen Eggert, welcome. And Amber and Janet and Sandra. And Stephanie says, yeah, this weather is weird this year. It feels like spring here in South Texas. Yeah, well, we've it's kind of funny because my friend Barbara in Alaska was saying just how they haven't had the normal winter. And I'm like, Barbara, the winter you were looking for is here. You can come take it anytime you want. That we are having a genuine winter that I remember we had for years when my kids were growing up, because I remember doing a lot of shoveling back in the early 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, we're back to kind of normal winter again, which is kind of good, I guess. It's very cold. It's giving our AC unit, the heating unit, of course, a big time workout. Um, and Kathleen says cables and NASCAR. I know. Well, you know what? We're not. None of us are a one trick pony. We have a lot of interesting habits, interesting hobbies, and I tell you what, Kathleen, it kind of stems from growing up in a home where we were the family that always had the car in the front yard up on the cinder blocks, that perpetually taking it apart. I know that sounds awful, but I learned a lot from my father, who was a mechanic, and he was just a wizard of all, a jack of all trades. He could do everything from fine art drawings, paintings to um, taking engines apart, fixing cars. That's what he did for a living, was working at what they used to have something called service stations. I don't know. Those of you who are born in the 90s and actually, if you were born after the 80s, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry to say. But we used to have service stations. And I give you a good picture of that. If you've ever seen the movie Back to the Future, where a car pulls up and you hear a ding ding, and then people run out and they service the car. They check the oil, they check the water in your washer fluid, they wash your windshield, they, I don't know, wipe the front the lenses of your lights so you know they work better. They did a lot of stuff, as well as put gas in the car for you. My dad worked at a service station and worked maintaining cars, doing all kinds of things. And so it kind of rubbed off, and I just wanted to learn some of the stuff that he was doing. And so I'm not exactly what you'd call a gearhead, but know a lot of the parts of the car, or at least I used to. Now with all the computers, it's really different. But yeah, I can tell you what's probably give you an idea if something's not doing well with the car. It's like I think I might know what it is, and it's not good. Um, but anyway, that's just kind of a fun thing, and we were not that far. We could hear, when I was growing up in Hialeah, we could hear the sound of the Hialeah Speedway, which was a few miles, several miles from our house, but you could hear it at night. You could hear them racing, and when I was a teenager, used to go there. West Palm used to have a half-mile track, so and I'm probably boring you guys. You came here to talk about yarn and not to hear about racing, but anyway, big race coming on Sunday. So if you want to set your DVRs or whatever, if you want to see that, it's so much fun. And unlike football, where they save supposedly the best game of the year, which I don't think, from what I understand, it wasn't the best game of the year. Probably wasn't the most competitive. But anyway, sorry, New England. Uh, but again, I didn't see it. So, but where they save the best, most important game for the last. NASCAR starts with really the most important, the biggest jewel in the crown is Daytona, and we start there. It's not to say that everything is downhill from there, but in a way it is. But it's just the opening to another year, and we're really looking forward to it. I know my husband is. He'll have something to watch for a while. All right. Stephanie's saying, let's see. Okay, we did that one. Brenda says a very quick hello to everyone. Great to have you. Brenda's my sister, my little sister. And Janet says, hello from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hello, Janet. I know Fort Lauderdale. Used to fly out of there. That's not too far from Perry Airport, I believe it's called. A small um, general aviation airport, and I've flown into Fort Lauderdale a couple times, coming to visit my parents as well because it's cheaper than flying into Miami, or it was at the time. And Jet One In, good to have you in the chat. And Carol George says hello. And Jet One In says hello from Idaho. Excellent. And um, thank you for the hearts, Brenda. Yeah, this week, I guess we're coming up on Valentine's Day. I wasn't going to talk a whole lot about that. I'm just curious. Do you all do a lot? I mean, I got my little heart necklace that my husband gave me a couple years ago. Uh, I don't. I just wonder how you all celebrate. I know um, it's a fun. It's an interesting holiday. I still have some kind of a knot in my stomach from years past, before and during being married. I mean, it's just one of those holidays that just has a lot of expectations tied to it, and I know it can oftentimes be kind of disappointing. Um, but I want to tell you about one of my favorite. Oh, if I can get through it without crying, favorite Valentine's Day, and it has nothing to do. This is before I was married. I was not dating or any of that. I was working in Columbia, South Carolina after college, and, I remember looking at that day and thinking, "Oh my gosh, I really don't wanna go through another Valentine's Day with self-pity and all this other stuff," and I think that day more than any in the calendar is given to that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, I will tell you, I got an idea, and I think it was from the Lord, and I just thought, "Well, why don't I do something for others instead of wondering whether someone's going to do something for me. And so I remember staying up late, baking these little cakes, and I decorated them. They were as someone had a hearts pan. So I borrowed the hearts pan and I made these little heart-shaped cakes and I decorated them and put a little fun message on them. And I just gave them to everybody in my work, guys and girls, and most everybody there was married. I think there were just two of us who were single. And, it was I actually at that time I worked near, for those of you who are familiar with Columbia, South Carolina, worked near Williams-Brice Stadium, at the time at a place called Georgia Pacific. It was a wholesaler. We would supply retailers and whatnot. And I did all sorts of things there, everything from work a switchboard to work for the main area. I was kind of his secretary, but did all these other things that nobody else wanted to do or could do. Um, so that I just remember that being really fun for me because my focus was on giving to somebody else. And I found that when I did that, I wasn't worried about the fact that nobody was going to give me anything. And then, as it turns out, that same day, some of the single brothers who were in the church that I was a part of back in the day, they went around to all the single ladies' workplaces and gave them a single rose as kind of as a token, as we see you, you're not invisible, kind of a thing. And it was just very sweet because the gesture was very, very kind and there were no strings attached. But anyway, that was probably my favorite, one of my favorite Valentine's Day. Um, so anyway, and if anyway, I don't know that we have any special plans now with my wonderful husband, except to say that if we do something, it's not going to be on the 14th because um, I would prefer if we're going to go out to dinner and spend some reasonable amount of money on it. I want it to be where it's quiet and where it's not super crowded and where the serving staff, I used to be a waitress when I was in college. I did that for a while. I was not very good at it, but it 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 kept me living indoors in the wintertime and kept me with 3 meals a day, for a time. But, I understand how hard they work, and I don't wanna go out on a day where the staff is overly stressed, if you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm really getting off the topic of yarn and all, but anyway, I just thought I'd just speak into that a little bit because I know that can be, at the very least, having a daughter who's single and having a sister who's single, and I have other single friends, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Um, but that was anyway, that was one thing that I did as a single, that one year, and I think I tried to, tried to keep that in mind for the years that followed. Yeah, that was a fun year because my eyes were off of me, and they were, instead just seeking how I could bless. So that was fun. Anyway, well, let me go ahead and okay, let's go ahead and talk yarn projects here. Let's start off. Now, we are well into this project. This is the Celtic Sampler Throw, and it has many, many, many stitches in it. It's very large. And this coming week, I'm going to be releasing the last video. And the last video is going to cover the, what do I call this? Saxon cable. Okay, brain is a little slow. The Saxon cable. And then we revisit this section up here, which is very much like the first, where we started. This is symmetrical to what we've already done. And so is the part with the cable, the horizontal cable stitches, arrow, low front ridge, and whatnot. This is a revisitation of what you've already done. So, but let me just speak into this because I know some people are like, I didn't even know there was a crochet along. Well, there is. Or you might think, oh my gosh, I'm still on video number one. That's okay. I just wanted to let you know that the reason I'm doing boom, 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 video 1, 2, and 3 is because there are some people out there that are housebound for whatever reason. Um, and and it's good for them to finish the project. and they need to have that. Now, I know many of you have other things going on in your life, and I don't want you to worry because the videos aren't going anywhere. I'm going to leave them up there a long, long time. I don't have any plans to take them down. So, um, I don't have any, they will be there hopefully even when I'm gone. So, and I'm not planning on going anywhere either. So anyway, so here are some of the other stitches that you probably should have covered in the second week, which was released this past Monday. This is the honeycomb, the large honeycomb. We did do some baubles. Now, some people said, I don't want the bauble. Can you do something else? Absolutely. You can do another row of the cable stitch, the horse that goes horizontally across here. You can do that instead. You can do knurl rows. Now, a lot of people have said, they're pulling their hair out over these rows. This is the knurl, which is the reverse single crochet. I understand that. That's a stickler of a stitch. I think it's a beautiful texturized stitch, but sometimes it has a learning curve that can feel like this, just really, really hard to accomplish. And if that is the case, just replace it with a cable, with one of these, okay? Just a cable, or you can do the arrow stitch. You can do anything there. You can even do this whole section again if you want. Your blanket will be a little bit longer, but you can do whatever. And the reason I say that is because the stitch count by and large does not change. Now you do change what you're working, and if you count each wattle, that's W-A-T-T-L-E stitch, as 3 stitches, the stitch count stays constant throughout, okay? Or it should, or yeah, very close. Now, sometimes the surface texture, which is worked in the front loop, might be maybe 1 stitch off. And I know some people were freaking out about that. Actually, these should remain the same because even when you skip the first stitch, you're working a reverse slip stitch, I believe, in the turning chain, so that you can either way, even if you have 1 less here, the rows that you work that maintain the stitch count is the second row of these when you're working in the back loop, if that makes any sense. So anyway, and also just to let you know, if you have special questions, you can always contact me. I have my email in the video description. It's bonniebay@me.com. You may have to search through some of that information, but it is there. We also have a Facebook page. It's not a Facebook group. We talked about that last week. And the reason is, in a nutshell, excuse me, I don't have time to maintain a Facebook group. That just requires more administrative work than what I am able to put into this. So I thank you in advance for your understanding, but I do have a separate page you can join. You can ask questions. Within the post, I do look at all the posts. I try to look at them at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, just to make sure there's nothing hanging there that I need to get back to. So, and again, if you're not a Facebook person, just contact me directly, or you can even put comments in the YouTube comment section for the video where your question is contained. Although it's better to just contact me directly because that way I will get it via email. I don't always get every single comment sent to me with YouTube. So if you never get a response there, please don't take it too personally. Sometimes I'm just not even aware that it was a comment. Although I do try to monitor that as quickly and as tightly as I can. All right, so this is a throw, and I'm really excited that this is going so well. I got several photos of an in progress project. If you want to send me them directly to my email, which is bonniebay@me.com, I would so appreciate seeing them. And if when you send them, if you can say you have permission to share, I really appreciate that. If I do have permission, if you don't want me to share, that's not a problem. I just love seeing them regardless. But I did want to start posting some just so that I can encourage others that this is not a pie in the sky project, but it's very attainable. I just want people to know that. And for those of you who are just seeing this for the first time, this I do have information. Again, video description is full of information about this project where you can get the project is both in my Etsy store as well as at lovecrafts.com. This takes approximately 4,600 yards of your favorite worsted weight. I used which is kind of one of my favorites right now is the Paintbox yarns. I don't have one to show you, but Paintbox Simply Aran is what I used for this. I checked before I went live today. They only have 4 colors available right now, so that might be really tough to get. So what you may need to do is just find something locally that you know yarn that you depend on, that you love to use all the time. And let me tell you, I'm getting some photos in of people who are using yarn from their stash, and they're looking fabulous, where they're changing up the colors with the different stitches. And I can't wait to share them with you because they're just amazing. I can't wait to see the whole projects that you folks are working on. It's just so encouraging to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. And I have some other. Whew, I want to fold it nicely. Let's see if I can. I'll fold it nicely later, but all right. And I just wanted to show you another throw that I'm hoping to release in March. I know I've gone throw crazy, right? Okay, so this, I think I showed this to you before. This is a definitely smaller than this. This is, what did I measure it to be? I think this is about 44 by maybe 55. This is a more standard size, but I'm going to have information where you can increase the width if you'd like. I'm calling this my Wisteria throw because it uses that stitch that kind of looks like the plant Wisteria. And actually, this is the name of the yarn as well. So I just thought, yeah, that works. So, and I used a different yarn than the Paintbox. They had a big sale at Knit Picks. And I thought, you know, I'm going to try their yarn and to see what this is like. And I used this yarn called Mighty Stitch. It's really different than Paintbox, where Paintbox is 100% acrylic, and it's not quite. I'm going to make a comparison here. It's kind of more like Red Heart Super Saver, but I find that there are much fewer knots than Red Heart Super Saver, and I want to say a little bit softer than Red Heart Super Saver because some people either love it or they hate it. But as far as usability, it's the Paintbox Simply Aran is maybe a step or two above that in my mind, but it's more similar in the way it feels than this. This Mighty Stitch feels a lot more like the Aran Simply Soft, the way that it used to be, the way I remember it to be from years ago. But I like it a lot better. This is 80% acrylic and 20% superwash. I did not have the trouble of this splitting as much as I remember Aran. Aran's super soft, barely had a twist to it, or at least if my memory is serving me correctly, and I think it is. And I remember it being, you could see that clearly the 4 plies, and it wasn't twisted very well. This is twisted better than that, and it's different material. It has part of the superwash, and it has a beautiful kind of a soft bloom to it. I don't know if you can even see, but you can tell it's just fuzzier, it's softer. Now, as far as how long this is going to be nice before it starts peeling, I don't know. I have not used it enough to know. I would have to put this in my living room and use it and and see what happens. But I think I'm thinking with the wool, maybe it'll be better than that. But if you've had any experience with this, please let us know what your experience has been. I do know the last time I checked, they had a huge selection of colors, which is a very positive thing. So this is coming. I'll go ahead and put this back, the Wisteria Throw. And last week I was wearing this. This is, I'll show you this first. Before I release the Afghan, I'm going to be releasing a scarf, which can be used. This was made of yarn that is silk and linen. So it would be a really wonderful summery spring scarf that you can stick in your bag. It's lightweight. Of course, you can substitute any kind of yarn for this. Literally any kind of yarn. I would say up to size 4 yarn. So, and I'll have more information about this, but this is a fingering weight or a number one. You can easily substitute fingering weight wool, superwash wool, whatever. And I made this. This is the same pattern, but you can see it's a lot wider, it's thicker. This is using some special wool that I had saved in my stash, and it's a DK weight. So I just mostly want to focus on the thicker DK weight yarn, and it is, as you can see, I'm going to compare the two. You can see how much, it's this much wider with a DK weight yarn. And let's go ahead and line this up a little better. Okay. Yeah. So about what, 4 or 5 inches wider with a DK weight yarn. And if you wanted to use your worsted weight leftovers, for projects like this, it would just makes, it's going to look funny with this jacket on, but it makes a lovely stole that you can wrap in, ward off that chill in the air. But what's nice about this for the summer is when you go in, if you make it out of a cottony or a linen kind of silk combination, it's light enough you can stick it in your bag, stick it in your purse, whatever, or stick it in your yarn bag. Then when in the summertime, a lot of times in South Florida, I remember going in and it's freezing inside. It's 85 degrees out and you're hot, and then you go into an environment that's like 20, 30 degrees cooler, and you freeze. And it's nice to have a layer you can pull out if you don't want to carry a jacket or something like that with you. So anyway, Hannah has sent me a message. Let me see what she says. The dusty purple yarn. Do I have any more of that? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember the name of this yarn. It's yarn that I bought. Do I see any there? No, I don't have any extra. I bought this at the London Loop, like in 2018, long time ago. The only time that I was in London. So it's a very interesting. I think it was llama and wool and combined. So it's just a DK weight yarn. I don't know the name of it, but they do have yarn. If you like the little flecks of color in that, they do have something called City Picks, or at Knit Picks, they do have yarn that has that effect in it. And I think it would be a lot cheaper than going to London to get it. I'd have to look that up, but I can let you know that as we get closer to releasing this. So the scarf will release in the early part of March, probably the first week in March. And then 2 weeks later, I will release the throw, because I know you don't want to have something every week. I can't keep up that much. So, the purple yarn. Okay, I'm thinking you thought this. Okay, for the throw, yeah, it's called Mighty Stitch by Knit Picks. Excuse me. That's a really good source of online purchasing. I know some of you like to purchase local only, which is fine. I just have a hard time finding enough, like to find, I think I used 18 of these for this particular project. And it's just really hard to find 18 balls of any color in a yarn, like say at Michael's or, I was going to say Joann's, but Joann's doesn't exist anymore. But wherever you find your yarn, it's just really hard to find that many that have the same dye lot. It's downright impossible. And usually what you'll have to end up doing is have Michael's order it for you if you do it that way. Um, so that's why it's to me, it's just more convenient to just order it online. And you do need to check when it comes online too. Just verify. Like one of my favorite presidents used to say, trust but verify. So, yeah, trust the order that they got it right, but just make sure, check the labels to make sure that they really sent you all the same dye lot. Okay, and Hannah has another question. Um, what yarn did I use for the fingering weight scarf? Let me look that up. Um, that would be, hold on a second. Throw. It's going to take me a minute to look this up. Hold on. Getting closer. Two skeins of, this is the company. It's a small business in Canada. So it's Yarn Indulgences Silken Linen Fingering Yarn, and 65% silk, 35% linen, 490 yards. And I used 2 of those. So you're going to need about 1,000 yards, just under 1,000 yards of any fingering weight yarn. So again, yarn, I'll go ahead and put this in the group chat. All right, let me go ahead and put it down here. This is the yarn that I used. So you have that available there in the chat. Thank you, Hannah. Again, it's one of those things, it's yarn that I thought was beautiful. I found it when I was up at Prince Edward Island at the Fiber Festival there this past year. Had a wonderful time there. So if you guys want a beautiful trip in the fall, consider going to Prince Edward Island. I'm not applying there this year. I have possibly other plans for the fall that I'll announce once I'm able to. One more thing I wanted to let you know about is right behind me here. And this is actually a project that I did record the video, but this was designed by my daughter-in-law. Can you even see it? Let me do this. Let me put this up a little bit higher. Okay, there we go. So we can see this is we're calling this Molly's blanket sweater. And it's a very oversized sweater that is fantastic. This is all double crochet. Go ahead and put this back down. Okay, all double crochet, and it's a beginner sweater designed by a beginner. And this is the yarn she used. This cake is a little bit smaller because I used part of it for the project. It's the Aran latte cakes. And if you've ever felt this yarn, it's pretty amazing. This is 100% acrylic, but the yarn just feels incredible. And when you put it on, it's like wearing a blanket. It's kind of one of those projects where let me go ahead and put this up a little bit. Yeah, it's one of those projects that you can wear, sitting around watching TV if you're cold. Yeah, it would probably look really nice if you're into leggings and stuff like that, or with a pair of jeans. It's just, again, an oversized sweater. I'm going to be making this available in 3 sizes. I'm actually collaborating with her, just bringing this to you, but it is Molly's project, and I will have that. I'll probably be pointing to her Etsy store for this pattern, just because I want to help her out, and she's just gone crazy with her design. She's done some beautiful things. Once she learned crochet. I'm excited to say I taught her to crochet. She was having trouble with granny square and whatnot because that's what she really wanted to learn. So, and I had to explain, and as many of you know, Granny Square is kind of an entry point, but it's not an easy entry point because that it requires a lot of skills. And so she's done a lot of things with Granny Square. She has some really cute things in her store. Her store is called Molly's Knits Shop. So there's a lot of S's in there. Um, yeah. So anyway, so that I'm hoping I'll be able to roll out sometime in April. So that's what I'm looking at for this. Um, I'm gonna be I did the video myself, okay, as far as the instructional video goes, I'm the one who did the video, but it is Molly's project. I think I did a lot of work on this when I was in South Carolina. It says, "What's the color if people wanna get the same color?" Okay, excellent. This is called Red Macaron, number 291222. I'll go ahead and let can you read that? And this is the colorway. And and when working with these kind of yarns, I did kind of manipulate it a little bit. I tried to match this up as best I could, but it doesn't match perfectly, but it is kind of it's kind of in order, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in order. But sometimes when you're connecting one to a new cake and the colors are just really off, feel free to pull off some of that yarn, roll it up in a ball, hold on to it because you can maybe use it again, substitute that, if you run low in other areas. But I would definitely, yeah, feel free to manipulate how this yarn comes out. Once in a while, you'll see a knot from the factory, which disrupts the colorway. And if that happens, feel free to pull that yarn off again until you get to where you think your color your yarn should approximately be. All right. And just as a reminder, for those of you who may be a little timid about, doing a lot of the cables like this, I do have some projects on my channel. Those of you who follow know this. I have my first cable throw pattern on this channel. If you go to my homepage, you can just hit videos and you'll see it. It'll be one of the videos listed there. And also the Blue Ridge throw is a good entry point as well, because you're only working front crosses, not back crosses. And those of you who are working on this project know what I'm talking about. But once you do get used to working those back crosses, there is a learning curve. It's not, it's a little tricky, but once you understand how it works, it's very doable. One other newsy thing, Frederick Fiber Festival this April 25th from 9 to 5. I will have a table there. I will have as many books as I can carry in and set up. And I'll also have a lot of samples that are crocheted that maybe you've seen on the channel at some point. I don't have a need to have 50 stoles and throws. I'm not going to be selling throws. I usually give those away as special gifts to people in my life and in my family. But I will have a lot of wearables and other things that are going to be available for sale. It's going to be like a one only kind of a thing. And it's also there just so people can see what the projects could look like in the book. All right, let me get back. I left you guys long time ago in this chat. I just want to get back to you. I have no idea how far behind I am. All right. We have Crochet Rocks. It's great to have you. And Felicia, I'm glad to have you with us, sister. And let's see. Sandrine from France. If I hope I didn't mispronounce that, but bonjour, welcome. I wish I knew more French, but My ignorance is showing at the moment. I'm so sorry. My husband could speak with you, but I could not. Um, let's see. And is it Janet? Says, "Hi, Yarnies from Lincolnshire, UK. Hope everyone is well. Glad the evenings are brighter." Oh, yeah, we are getting longer. More sun in the evening. I love that. I love that. Um, I know you guys are up higher on the globe, so I know you'll be getting more light soon. That'll be great. And DL Chris says, "Good morning. I renewed my Watch Channel membership. Looking forward to seeing what will be coming this year." Oh, thank you, DL Chris. That reminds me, I do need to schedule a time with you all. I think I'm going to wait until probably the last week in February so that we can talk about the throw and just answer any questions with regards to that. But for those of you who aren't familiar, I do have what we are calling the Watch channel, WATCH. It's watch.bonniebaycrochet.com. There's a link for that in the video description. And it is a paid subscriber channel where there are no interruptions. There are no commercials, none of that stuff. And with your membership, you can download many PDFs of patterns that I normally sell in my online stores at Etsy and at Lovecrafts. And the only patterns that are not available there are the ones that I don't own the rights to, such as uh, some that I have in my published books with Penguin Random House or with leisurearts.com, or there are a few patterns that are owned by Annie's because they were a part of a magazine publication. So there are some of those that I cannot give the pattern to you, but anything, and for the record, I don't sell my rights to anything. I haven't for the last 5 or 6 years. I've tried to maintain ownership of everything that I do, and I honest I think, well, I'm not gonna say what I was thinking, but, yeah, I hang on to the ownership now so I can freely share that with my watch subscribers as complimentary patterns. So if that's something that's interesting to you, that is $7.95 a month. I have not raised prices in the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and or it's $79.50 a year. And I just thank those of you who are my supporters. I so appreciate that. You really have helped me keep the lights on this this past month and keeping the heat on in the house. I know that's gonna and it's also helping to keep me out of tax prison. So thank you. April is coming, and I've been yeah, we need to make sure that we can stay out of tax prison. I do not look good in orange. I know that's kind of a running joke, but it's something we take real seriously here. So, yeah, orange is not my color. So we try to be super faithful with our IRS people. And that time is coming up soon. So thank you all for the ways that you contribute and help with this business. I so appreciate that. And thank you, Hannah, for all that you're doing here. Um, let's see. I want to try to. I know. Okay. Okay. Did I catch? Okay. Okay. I think I know where I am now. Thank you, DL Chris, for that prompt. I appreciate that. And Crochet Rock says, "I love your jacket." Thank you. I should show you the back. I want to see. Can you see the back? Ah, I love wearing this. This is so much. I wish I should kind of. I think I need to need to work on getting it to fit a little bit better. But as long as I don't, oh, and it's got the flames down the side. It's so much fun. We were big Jeff Gordon fans ever since he appeared on our when my son, who's now 31, when he was like 2 years old, Jeff Gordon appeared on our Frosted Mini Wheats cereal box, and that got them interested. And so when the kids got interested in that, and he was a really pretty good guy, so we got interested, and even got to take the kids a couple of times to Charlotte, North Carolina, to Hendrick Motorsports. That's yeah, Hendrick Motorsports, and to see where the cars are actually built, and got to see the shop and everything. Got to see them put together. So lots and lots of fun over the years with that. Um, And Phil says, I used to be a full service station attendant when I was a teenager. Fantastic, Phil. You know what I'm talking about. I have a story for Phil. Um, and also, says Ali says, all the service stations in my town have been turned into restaurants and bars. Oh, that's too bad. And Stephanie says, full service stations. I miss that so much. Yeah. There's nothing like being dressed up to go somewhere fancy in a beautiful dress, and you've got to get out and touch a greasy gas pump and pump your own gas. Now, the only exception to that is if you live in New Jersey, you New Jersey people, in New Jersey, it's against the law to pump your own gas. Did you all know that? My daughter-in-law is from New Jersey, and I did stop and get gas there once, and it was kind of fun. You just hand them the credit card, they pay for it, give it to you back, and they pump the gas for you. It's just I think a safety thing, which I think is kind of a good idea because not everybody knows how to handle gasoline properly. And yet they are free to handle the pumps, which is kind of scary if you think about it. But anyway, I'm not arguing either way for control or not control, but yeah, Jersey girls don't pump gas. It's kind of nice when you're dressed up, like I said, to go somewhere in heels, and then you've got to get out and get all greasy. But I wanted to tell a story to Phil. My dad was working at this place. It was a Citco station, but that was before it was owned by Venezuela. Um, and and they had this, you know what I'm talking about, this kind of a hose that ran um, across the entranceway so that whenever a car would pull up, it would compress the hose and it would cause a bell to go ding ding inside the store where the attendants were. And so as a teenager, or as actually not a teenager, probably like a 6 or 7 year old, 8 year old, and I used to ride my bicycle up to visit my dad during the summer and say hi. And it was just fun because you could jump on you can jump on that hose and make the bell go ding ding, and people would come out looking for the car, and you get, it's just a kid playing with it. Yeah, we used to have the problem too. You had to be real careful filling up your bike tires because it'd be real easy to blow out a tire. And if you've worked at a service station, I'm sure you've, remembered lots of kids coming in there with their 10 speeds and just blow out the inner tube because the pressure going into the from the air, when air was free to put in your tires, it would be so high that it would outdo the bike tire. So you had to be really, really, really careful. I just remember that. I know. Going way off. I'm going on to a lot of fox trails today. Sorry about that. Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, Phil used to work there. That is so cool. Very, very interesting job. My dad used to, I talk about my dad. He's been with the Lord since 2003. So that's been what, 23 years already. It doesn't seem like he's been gone that long. But everybody in town knew my dad. Every councilman, mayor, everybody, because he worked on their cars. He kept them all going, and it was just a really important part of the community that, unfortunately, just has kind of disappeared in some ways. But anyway, Brat's mom says, "I'm listening on my way home from Costco. So nice to drive with company." Aw. I hope you had a good time there, Linda. Last time when I went this past Tuesday, it was so quiet in Costco. I couldn't believe it. It was easy to get close parking, and it was very quiet in there. It was wonderful. And Stephanie says, I'm a bit behind on the sampler. I am now on row 45. Maybe I'll hit the second part this weekend. Again, Stephanie, you take your time, okay? I said this online too. Should be a joy in the journey, and I don't want anybody to feel pressure from this publication schedule, because this is more kind of just staying. I just want to make sure that they're there. That's why I'm releasing them. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3 over a 3-week period. Not that I expect you to get it all done, because I spent much more time doing this than 3 weeks. I promise you. But again, just know that they're going to be there, and there's no rush. And in about, I don't know, in a few weeks after we finish the Crochet Along, again, the videos are going to be there to serve people as long as I'm selling the pattern online, which I tend to have that up a long, long time. The videos are going to be available publicly. So yeah, don't feel the pressure. You take your own journey on this. It's not a race. There's no prize given for the person who finishes first. There's none of that. This is again just for the release schedule. So, but I'm going to start collecting photos when people start finishing. I want to collect those, and just to let you all know, I intend to, and I'm assuming if you send them to me, I need to know that I have your permission. I'm just assuming that if you're sending it to me, okay, I have permission to share with what I'm going to say about these. And if you want your name on the photo, let me know. If you don't, I'm not going to put, let me know that too, because I want, I know if you're a part of a slideshow and you want, your friends and family to know that's yours and you want your name on it, that's fine. Or I can even just put your name, like your first name, maybe last name initial. And then I would love to be able to include where you're from, or at least the state where you're from. That would be really cool. Um, just to show where people are from all over the place, both in and outside of the US. And I just love it, being able to interact with the world outside, especially the years I haven't been able to travel internationally. It's been, what, 20, it's been going on 4 years since I've been able to travel. No, that's not true. I just went to Canada. Forget I said that. So we just did go to Canada. But I love just exploring and seeing other places, other states, other countries. But it's just cool to see work coming in from there as well. And I think other people would find that interesting. So I am going to start collecting those. Or if you even wanted to send it to me, as soon as you finish, that would be fantastic. And I will be putting that slideshow together. It will be on YouTube. It will be in a public place. So if you don't want your name attached or any of that, that's fine. I totally understand that. That's why I'm very careful about, that's why you're not seeing my pictures of my grandchildren and stuff like that very much, because I'm going to be just kind of careful on some of that, just with the AI and just not knowing where all of that is heading. So, okay. And Brad's mom says about Valentine's Day, we just go out for dinner. I like to hang up my light up Valentine heart. Oh, how cute. And she says, Jesus is my Valentine. Oh, very sweet. Yeah, that was kind of the theme I used on those cakes that I made too. Just kind of like, if nothing else, Jesus loves you. And that's not saying that's nothing. That's a significant something. Um, and Stephanie says, did you need help from mom? Oh, thank you, Hannah. Okay, thank you, Hannah. That's Hannah's note. Okay, got it, Hannah. Um, Hannah says, I'm honestly going to get some flowers for my grandma. They'll be for my soon to be, 97-year-old grandma. I'm not too crazy about chocolate and flowers, and I've got plenty of stuffed animals. That's so sweet, Hannah. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, that alone, you're thinking of somebody else, and I think that's gonna make your day better for sure. And was this is this Taurine, if I'm saying that right? Says, "Can you design a sweater design?" I do have some on. If you go to my homepage, or yeah, if you go to my homepage here on YouTube, you can go to playlist and hit sweaters. I do have several crochet sweaters available. In fact, I have one. Let me show you this one. I just, whoa, there go my papers. Oh boy. I do have this one, and this is sized for men and women in the written pattern. This is Bonnie's Aran cabled sweater. This is not on my YouTube channel though. This is actually, you'd have to go to my website, which is bonniebaycrochet.com, and you can look at the patterns. Just look at the different designs I have there. Hit designs or patterns, whatever it says. And then this is one of them. Okay, so I do have a cabled sweater, and I'll show you the back. It's the back and the front are pretty much the same, and the sleeves. Okay, has the the wheat. No, that's the honeycomb stitch down the sleeve. This is on there. There are some simpler sweaters, worked top down sweaters, where you make the yoke and then go down with it. I have several of those as well. And there was also some summer sweaters, which I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'm looking at my yarn over here. I've got some summery yarn that's just been begging for me to use. I need to do that. Thank you, Hannah. She said she's already answered it with multiple links. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate that. And Jet One says, I want to jump into the crochet along, but I still need to get my yarn. That's fair enough. It's not going anywhere. It will be waiting patiently for you. And Esther, good to see. How you doing, my friend? She says, hope you are doing well. Esther has the most beautiful baby girl. Congratulations again on that, Esther. It looks like you're doing great with her. Thank you, Hannah, for responding. I see that now. And Dean Barry says, good morning, afternoon, everyone. Hello, glad you could join us. And my friend Barbara's in the chat. She says, beautiful Gilly snoring on my shoulder too. Aw, what a beautiful dog you have there, Barbara. She looks nice and furry and fun. Just the kind of dog you'd want to snuggle with. And hope you're doing well up there. Hope you're staying warm. And Jet One says, I wish there was better in stock color selections for Lovecrafts, Aran. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure what's going on. I mentioned last week that they were recently acquired by Webs. So I don't know what's going on with that. It might just be restocking, moving issues. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say much more because I just don't know. I don't want to be like one of those reporters speaking for 30 minutes about nothing because they know nothing. But I know that sometimes it can be a lot of work, transferring and getting a new business lined up, or I don't know. I've been through a couple mergers in my time, and it was not painless. I'll just say that. Oh, thank you, Barbara. She says, what Wisteria is a perfect name. I have to confess, it was on the yarn ball. It was on the skein of yarn, and or at least it was online. I don't see it. Oh, it is. Yeah, it does say Wisteria right there. And when I saw that and combining it with the stitches I intended to use, I just thought this is perfect because that's it. It's just and Hannah knows what I'm talking about, especially out by the graveyard where Grandpa is buried. They have these wisteria vines just in all of the pine trees, and it's just beautiful in the spring. Like it's usually depending on whether it's early March or late March, I guess depends on the weather pattern. But sometimes starting in March when the azaleas and everything start to bloom in the south, that wisteria comes into full bloom, and it's just beautiful. And it's also along the road that Hannah takes to go to Grandma's house, right there before you get to the colorful houses. It's just beautiful. Yeah, that's the name of the dusty purple. And Liz says, I love both throws, but this one I love even more. Oh, thank you. I thought it would be fun to just, do a throw that's just kind of all one cable for a change, because I rarely do that. I just thought that was funny. I did get a little bored though. I have to confess. It's always my hands doing one thing and my brain's thinking of the next project. And I tell you, I did get a little tired of it. But I was really glad I stuck with it. I really do like the way it turned out. I think part of it, maybe why I got bored, is I had finished the stole, and then I made the scarf, and then I made the entire afghan with the same stitches. And I'm like, I like it, but I'm getting tired of this. So anyway, that might be a thing. And MIG 12, welcome. And I did answer that question. Yeah, I got you on the yarn indulgences. Thank you for prompting me on that one, Hannah. And Dean Barry says, looks like Karen latte cakes in the red macaroon colorway. Bing, you guessed right. That's what that was. And Hannah says, YouTube has changed the format of my name. Huh. It gave you a number, Jane. I guess they gave everybody a number. I wonder why they're doing that. They may be trying to keep track of these people that make multiple accounts and the ones that we've had to ban from our channel are the ones that Hannah graciously escorts to the exit door, that like to spam people. That could be what's going on there. Just to give greater accountability. And Margita, good afternoon. Glad you could join us. And Ola Joe, the crocheting sailor, welcome, welcome. You guys need to follow her channel. She has a lot of fun stuff on there. And Kim says hello from Alberta. Oh my goodness. Welcome from the other side of Canada, from coast to coast. That's wonderful. So we got it covered. We've got New Brunswick and now we've got Alberta. So fantastic. And we've got Barbara from up there in Alaska. And wow, this is fantastic. Thank you for the link, Hannah, for that yarn inspiration. Yeah, it could be a Michael's exclusive. I don't know how they're doing that these days. And yeah. All right. Am I already 5 minutes over? I sure am. um, thank you for the good word on the watch channel, Jet One, and I appreciate that. And thank you, Ola Joe. She says, love your jacket. Wow, real nice. Yeah, it's only about a dozen years old. But yeah, fan of a driver who retired about 12 years ago. But we still follow their team. It's a lot of fun. Can't miss the Daytona 500. And Cynthia Dalton says, I'm here late, been busy getting ready for my brother's wedding tomorrow. So excited. Well, have a fantastic time there, Cynthia. I know it's so much fun to dress up. There's very little opportunities to do that these days. So make sure you get the gas today, though, so you don't have to fill the gas on the way in your pretty dress. We were talking about that New Jersey. Unless you live in New Jersey, then you don't have to worry about it. Because Jersey girls don't pump gas. And we have DM Sarah B. I don't know if that's well, anyway, thank you. So glad you're here. And thank you, Barbara. She says, love Molly's sweater. Thank you so much. Yeah, Stephanie says, I dislike Red Heart Super Saver. Yeah, it's kind of a starting point yarn. Yeah, it's a staple in the industry. But yeah, it can vary a lot depending on the color and how they dye it. So it has its place, is how I will say that it has its place. And I have used more than my fair share over the years, but I've kind of moving on. Used to design for Red Heart, actually, back when it was based in the US. And Barbara says, I make a lot of sweater blankets just for the home, though. Yep, that makes sense. Ola Joe says, I know all about that. We experienced that while traveling to visit family in Jersey. Yeah, so you know about the gas thing. And Phil says, yep, I had that hose at the station I worked at. Talking about the ding ding. Yes. And someone's DM Sarabia, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anything here, says, I found out about New Jersey when traveling for work. I got out to fill up and oh no, someone came out very upset and told me to get back in the car. Holy moly, I was so surprised. I would not have known, except that my daughter-in-law, Sarah, grew up there in New Jersey. And she thought it was kind of fun that she didn't have to get out and pump the gas. But yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, they just assume, it's one of those things that they should probably have signage up for the rest of us who are traveling through. And Hannah says, yeah, New Jersey is one of the few places that still has service stations. One of my sister-in-laws has never learned how to pump gas because she grew up not needing to. Well, she's pumping her own in Pittsburgh when Joseph's not doing it. So Yeah, and thank you, Hannah, again. And is it Phoebe Lala? Hiya, glad to have you in the chat. Says love ya, God bless and keep you. Thank you so much. I think I may be somewhat caught up here. And Ola Joe says, hi, Esther. Oh, thank you for the comment of the sweater too, Ola Joe. Jet One In says, gotta head out for now, but we'll watch the rest on replay. Have a great day, everyone. Well, you too, Jet One In. Thanks for joining us. And is it Marty? Marty says, hi, Bonnie Bay. I love all your crochet products. I'm a big fan. Thank you. Thank you so much. They're so sweet. And hello from Kentucky. Yes, you're from Kentucky, just like Bobby. Um, and we have Karen P from Ontario, Canada. Well, welcome. I've been to Ontario before. Um, I just love going across the border. It's just fun to see new places, new people. And yes, like Hannah says, thank you for your love and support very much. Well, let me go ahead. I think I have covered everything on my docket. I wanted to read something to you. Again, I'm going to read a song. It's an encouraging song. This is a Christian song. So just to be clear, it's and it's a song that really expresses my heart a lot, and it's a relatively new song. It was written in 2017 by Nate Stiff. He was the gentleman who partook in writing the song that I mentioned last week as well. And I also put the link if you want to hear this song sung by a band. Um, there is a link in the video description. You can listen to that. And again, this is just to encourage you, um, and just to reveal my heart to a degree, and just to share. There are a lot of things that I could have talked about today, but we avoid a lot. There's a lot going on in the world that's just dark, and I am aware. I am very much aware of that, and we don't talk about stuff like that because I don't want to. I don't want to be polarizing to my audience because I know we come from a variety of expressions, a variety of um, understandings. But I just wanted to just share this, and this is where my hope comes from, and this is why I can smile even though the days can be dark. So let me just read this to you, and again, if you want to hear it sung, it's even better. This is by Nate Stiff, and I'm just going to read through the verses. O Lord, my God and my Redeemer, greatest treasure of my longing soul. My God, like you, there is no other. True delight is found in you alone. Your grace, a well too deep to fathom. Your love exceeds the heavens' reach. Your truth, a fount of perfect wisdom, my highest good and my unending need. Verse 2, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer, strong defender of my weary heart, my sword to fight the cruel deceiver, and my shield against his hateful darts. My song when enemies surround me, my hope when tides of sorrow rise, my joy when trials are abounding, your faithfulness, my refuge in the night. And verse 3, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer, gracious Savior of my ruined life, my guilt and cross laid on your shoulders in my place, you suffered, bled, and died. You rose, the grave and death are conquered. You broke my bonds of sin and shame. And again, you rose, the grave and death are conquered. You broke my bonds of sin and shame. O Lord, my rock and my redeemer, may all my days bring glory to your name. May all my days bring glory to your name. Just love that song. It's just wonderful contemporary. It's just nice that the beautiful contemporary songs that glorify the Lord are being written today. And I just want to share some of those with you. And again, the link for that is in the video description. And I just want to wish you all a wonderful week. Stay warm. Those of you north of the Mason-Dixon, And have a wonderful, just a wonderful week. And I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless. Bye bye.